If you have heard the latest rumors swirling around the internet regarding the return of Serena Baldwin, you are probably just as outraged and confused as I am. Am I the only one losing my mind over this? We have been waiting years, literally years, for Serena to come back to Port Charles. And now that Kelly Kruger has stepped into the role, I was so incredibly hopeful. But if this new theory about her romantic future is true, it is a complete disrespect to the fans who have invested decades into these characters. Let us start with the part of this theory that actually makes perfect sense, because I always try to find the silver lining before I completely lose my temper and go on a rant. The word on the street is that Serena is going to be heavily involved in the deception storyline. Now, that I can get behind. Lucy Coe is the woman who raised her, the surrogate who carried her for Dominique Taub, and she has always loved Serena like her own flesh and blood. It makes perfect logical sense that Lucy would pull strings to get her daughter a top-tier position at her cosmetics company. Deception is always in need of fresh blood, and with Maxie Jones constantly overwhelmed and stepping back to focus on her personal life, there is a massive executive void just waiting to be filled. Serena stepping in to take over some of Maxie's duties? Brilliant. Serena becoming the new face and lead model for Deception? Absolutely stunning. Kelly Kruger is gorgeous and fits that glamorous corporate world perfectly. Imagine the incredible dynamic at Deception with Serena walking those halls and taking charge. She would instantly be thrust into the orbit of strong, opinionated women who run Port Charles. Tracy Quartermain would undoubtedly scrutinize her every single move, waiting for the classic Baldwin Co. eccentricities to show, and we all know Tracy does not hold back her sharp tongue. Brooklyn Quartermain would probably feel incredibly threatened by a new, shiny executive stepping on her toes, especially given Brooklyn's current crumbling marriage and her intense guilt over framing Willow Kane. Sasha Gilmore could desperately use a friend who understands the intense pressures of the modeling industry. It would be a phenomenal way to reintroduce Serena to the canvas, giving her a solid career foundation and immediate ties to the core families. This is how you build a character arc. You ground them in family, business, and female friendships. But no, the writers seemingly cannot just let a woman be successful and independent. They have to throw her into a romantic disaster that makes absolutely zero sense. And this brings me to the horrific, stomach-churning rumor that is currently making the rounds. Brace yourselves, ladies, because this is going to make your jaw drop to the floor. There is a very loud, very persistent whisper that the writers are planning to pair Serena Baldwin romantically with Sonny Corinthos. Yes, you heard me correctly. Sonny Corinthos. I nearly dropped my tablet when I read that. Are we actually supposed to accept this outrageous writing? Sonny is a grandfather. He has been through the ringer with Carly, Ava, Nina, and currently this whole messy situation with ADA, Justine Turner, and the deadly Jens Sidwell trap. And now they want to throw a young, vibrant Serena Baldwin into the mob boss's bed? It is an absolute travesty. I know exactly what some of you are going to say in the comments. But General Hospital has always done age gap romances. Yes, I know. I have watched this show since the 1980s. I know the history. I remember the scandalous pairings, the forbidden loves, the older men with younger women. But there is a massive difference between a slightly scandalous age gap and pairing a legacy child Scott Baldwin and Dominique's precious daughter with the resident mobster who has literally destroyed the lives of half the town. The age difference alone is enough to make me feel completely nauseous, but it is the character history that makes this a heart-wrenching betrayal of everything Serena represents. Sonny Corinthos does not need another young woman to drag down into his dark, dangerous world of shootouts, FBI investigations, and endless mob wars. Let us take a long, hard look at Sonny's current situation, shall we? The man is currently fighting for his life and his crumbling empire. He is dealing with the terrifying fallout of Jen Sidwell's chaotic revenge trap that nearly got innocent people killed at the art gallery. He is manipulating Ava Jerome, he is dealing with Rick Lansing returning to his inner circle, and he is trying to navigate his highly complicated, unofficial relationship with ADA Justine Turner. He is a man surrounded by violence, betrayal, and deep-rooted trauma. He is exhausted, paranoid, and constantly looking over his shoulder. What on earth could he possibly have in common with Serena Baldwin, who has been living away from Port Charles, presumably living a normal, non-lethal life. Are the writers honestly trying to sell us the tired narrative that Serena is going to be the breath of fresh air that saves Sonny's dark soul? We have seen this story a million times. It did not work with Emily Quartermain, it barely worked with Brenda Barrett, and it certainly will not work with Serena. Now, I want you to close your eyes and picture Lucy Coe's reaction to this absolute mess. Lucy has spent her entire life trying to protect Serena. She carried her, she loved her fiercely, and she has always wanted the very best for her little girl. If Lucy finds out that Serena is sharing a bed with Sonny Corinthos, she will lose her ever-loving mind. Can you imagine the screaming matches at the Metro Court? Lucy would probably try to stab Sonny in the eye with a deception eyeliner pencil. The sheer comedic and dramatic gold of Lucy Coe going to war with the Corinthos cartel is almost enough to make me want to watch this train wreck. But it is still a complete disrespect to the fans to sacrifice Serena's dignity and future just for shock value. And what about Scott Baldwin? Oh my goodness, Scotty would have a literal heart attack right there in the middle of the hospital. Scott has hated Sonny Corinthos for decades. The bad blood between Scott and the mob is legendary and runs so deep it is practically in his DNA. He blames the mob for so much of the pain and suffering in his life. The thought of his precious daughter, his beautiful connection to his late wife Dominique, being swept off her feet by the man he despises more than anyone else in Port Charles. Scott would be loading a shotgun and marching right up to Sonny's penthouse door. The family dynamics would be completely shattered. It would be a bloodbath of epic proportions. While I do love a good Scott Baldwin meltdown, I do not want it to be at the expense of Serena's character arc. Then we have to talk about Carly Spencer. You know, Carly's not going to just sit quietly in her house while Sonny parades a new young girlfriend around town. Carly is currently wrapped up in her own intense drama with Valentin Cassadine, the WSB, and her daughter Jocelyn getting shot at Windermere, but she always has one eye on Sonny. Always. If Sonny starts bringing Serena Baldwin around their daughter Donna or to Corinthos family events, Carly will absolutely hit the roof. She will view Serena as a naive little girl playing way out of her league. Carly will undoubtedly corner Serena in the hospital elevator or the Metro Court lobby and deliver one of her classic terrifying threats. You don't know what you're dealing with, little girl. I can hear the dialogue already. It is predictable, it is exhausting, and it is ruining the character arc for everyone involved. And let us not forget Jason Morgan and Dante Falconeri. Jason just returned to Port Charles in the milestone 16,000th episode, profoundly changed by his captivity, and is actively trying to distance himself from the mob to protect his son, Danny. Jason is looking for peace and stability. If he sees Sonny spiraling into a bizarre midlife crisis romance with Scott Baldwin's daughter, Jason is going to shake his head in utter disgust. He might even warn Sonny that this is a massive mistake that will only bring more heat and instability to the organization. And Dante? Dante is a dedicated police officer! He already struggles deeply with his father's criminal lifestyle and the danger it brings to Rocco. Seeing his father date a woman who is practically his own age or younger is going to make Dante sick to his stomach. The Thanksgiving dinners at the Corinthos house are going to be absolutely unbearable. The most terrifying part of this entire theory is the endgame. The writers are not just talking about a brief, scandalous fling. The rumor mill is suggesting that this could lead to a long-term commitment, maybe even marriage. Serena Corinthos. Just let that name sink in for a moment. Serena Corinthos? It sounds completely wrong. It sounds like a parallel universe. If they actually put a ring on her finger, she becomes the new mob wife. She will be expected to stand by blindly while Sonny orders hits, covers up murders, and goes to war with the likes of Jen Sidwell. Is that really what we want for Serena? To be relegated to the role of a worried mob wife, clutching her pearls while the FBI raids her house and her father weeps in the corner? It is an insult to her independent spirit and everything her mothers, Lucy and Dominique, stood for. But here is the tragic reality, my friends. As much as I am sitting here screaming into the void, I know exactly how these writers operate. They love cheap shock value. They love pairing people up who have absolutely no business being together just to generate buzz and get people talking on social media. They know that a Sunny and Serena pairing will set the internet on fire. It will create instant, explosive conflict with Lucy, Scott, Carly, and Jason. It provides months of easy, lazy drama for the writer's room. Instead of writing a complex, nuanced storyline about Serena climbing the corporate ladder at Deception and finding a partner who respects her as an equal, they are going to take the easy way out and throw her straight to the mob boss. I am praying with every fiber of my being that this theory is just a wild, baseless rumor. I am hoping that Kelly Kruger's Serena gets paired with someone appropriate and exciting. What about the new doctor? Tristan Roberts? He is new to town, he is a promising surgeon, and he has that incredibly tense, antagonistic dynamic with Britt Westbourne right now. Why not throw Serena into his orbit and create a fabulous love triangle? Or what about a new character entirely? Someone who can match her wit, her beauty, and her business acumen without bringing a trail of dead bodies and FBI informants into her living room. Serena deserves a romance that makes us swoon, not one that makes us want to throw our remote controls at the television screen. I simply cannot take much more of this outrageous writing. If they go through with this Sunny and Serena nightmare, I do not know how I am going to cope. I will be here every single day, ranting to all of you, because I know you understand my pain. We have devoted our lives to these characters, we have watched them grow up, and we demand better for them. Let me know in the comments if you were as horrified by this Serena Corinthos idea as I am, or if you think I am just overreacting. But trust me guys, this is a disaster waiting to happen. I am completely exhausted by the mere thought of it. Until next time, keep your fingers crossed that the writers come to their senses before they ruin Serena Baldwin forever.